Hey there, my name is Carley and welcome to today's video. In this video, we are going to be talking about my December TBR. So the final TBR of the year. Very exciting, and I'm very excited for this reading month. I'll be taking some time off work during the holidays, so I'm really hoping to get some good reading done. And as always, we're gonna start with the books I'm gonna read in my themed reading blog for the month. I'm gonna keep the theme a secret, but if you have been watching my channel for any of the previous years I've had it, you will know I have a certain tradition that I do every December. So you probably will know why I chose these books. But I'm going to be reading these next 5 books in a reading blog. Starting out, I'm just going to get right into it. And I'm going to be reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, I think her name is. This has obviously been such a popular book this year. It's a romantasy, which is a romantic fantasy, and I think the main allure of this is that it has to do with dragons. I guess people who own and ride dragons. I have not read that many books that feature dragons in them, but I am very excited to read a book with that concept in it. I think there's also some sort of competition element going on, which is something I often enjoy in books. I don't read a ton of romantasy, so I'm a little worried about that, but this is one of those books I've heard a lot of good things about from people who don't necessarily read romantasy. People kind of compare it, I think, to ACOTAR and like Sarah J Maas, and ACOTAR is a series I actually enjoy. So I do want to get to this one. Another popular book I'm going to get to is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is a very widely discussed book from the year. It's a contemporary like satire book with a lot of commentary on like the publishing industry and racism. Plot is that this white author basically steals the story from her Asian friend who's also an author. I want to say her friend like passes away or something, so she takes the story that her friend had been working on and publishes it under her own name, and then apparently it's just very chaotic from there. I have heard mixed things about this one, but I think it should still be interesting, and I've not read from this author yet. Then I want to read the romance book Meet Me at the Lake by Carley Fortune. This will be my first book from her, but it's, I believe, kind of a classic romance story about these two people who meet and I think have like a whirlwind romance and then agree to meet later. I want to say like 10 years later or something like that at the same place, and then only one person shows up and the other person doesn't show up, or maybe it's just the next year or something like that. They don't show up and now it's many more years later and they finally are reconnecting and I guess having more of like a second chance romance kind of thing. I just thought I enjoyed the concept, and as I said, I haven't read from this author before, but I feel like I have heard mostly good things from her, so we will check her out. Then for a thriller, I'm gonna read Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister, another author I have not read yet. Okay, let me try and think of what the plot of this one was. I think obviously it's about a missing person. It's a missing persons case, and then I think we're following the detective in the case, and they're getting blackmailed or something and being forced to kidnap someone else so that the original person who's missing will go free. It's like some sort of chain of events that like, it's a chain of missing people, something like that. This person's previous thriller got a lot of attention, a lot of buzz. I didn't read that one. We're going with this second one, and if I enjoy it, I'll definitely check out that first book. And then the last book for that themed vlog is going to be Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I think this is a mystery thriller type of book, kind of obvious from the title. Okay, from the plot, I just looked at it now. For some reason, I didn't really know it before, or like it's kind of, the title kind of speaks for itself, to be honest, but I guess it's about this family where for some reason pretty much every family member has killed someone, and then it looks like they have some sort of family reunion, and then there's a murder at this reunion, I think. So obviously like everyone in the family is a suspect because they're all murderers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm getting from the Goodreads synopsis. I think this is a series as well, so this should be interesting to see how this goes. It's pretty hyped up. I think it should be a fun time. It's giving vibes of maybe more like a cozy mystery, which I think can be a little hit or miss. Those aren't my absolute fave, but we'll see how it goes. Then for the rest of my reading, we are going to be reading Just Like Magic by Sarah Hogle for my personal book club with my friends. This was my suggestion because, as you guys may know, I've really enjoyed Sarah Hogle's other 2 romance novels that I read, and this is a more like Christmassy themed one, so obviously perfect to read in December. Historically, I do not really like Christmas romances, like Christmas rom-coms. Similar to Hallmark movies, like it's just not my thing. Like they're all so basic, similar, but we'll see how this is, especially with Sarah Hogle, who I just find to be so funny. The plot gets kind of convoluted. I feel like I don't really remember it off the top of my head, so I'm going to read it out from Goodreads. Don't hate me. So we have Bet Hughes, who once knew the comfort of luxury, flaunting a ridiculous collection of designer shoes and a stealthy addiction to CBD oils. That is, until her parents snipped her purse strings. Long obsessed with her public image, Betty boasts an extravagant lifestyle on social media, but the reality is Betty is broke and squatting in Colorado, and her family has no idea. Okay. Christmas, with its pressure to meet familial expectations, is looming when a drunk Betty plays a vinyl record of All I Want for Christmas Is You backwards and accidentally conjures Hall, an unexpectedly charming holiday spirit in the form of a man. So it's kind of weird. It's having like a supernatural twist. Once the shock wears off, Betty knows she stumbled upon the greatest gift, a chance to make all her holiday wishes come true, plus a ready-made fiance. But as the wiles of magic lose their charm, Betty finds herself set off kilter by Hall's sweet gestures. Suddenly, Betty is finding her heart merry and light, but the happier she gets, the shorter Hall's time on earth grows. Can Betty channel the Christmas spirit and learn to live with goodwill towards all men? Or will her selfish ways come back as soon as the holidays are over? From the author of Twice Shy comes a spritey Christmas novel, a rollicking romp through the absurdity of family holidays and the hope of new love. So it's a little bit of a weird one, but I feel like that is a little bit more promising. Like, it doesn't sound like it's just gonna be a basic Christmas rom-com, and the magic stuff is fun. So that is that. Then with the rest of my time in December, I'm going to be tackling The Goblet of Fire, the 4th Harry Potter book. I haven't been putting any of the other Harry Potter books on my TBR throughout the year, but I have just read randomly the first 3 books, and I've really been enjoying it. Christmas is also, you know, the time for Harry Potter, so I would love to continue the series. This is where the series starts to get a little hefty. How many pages? 700. 734. Great. So this might take me a while. I don't know, probably not that long. It's Harry Potter, but I think this is where the movies start to get different from the book. And in case you don't know, I've only seen the movies up until this point, until I started reading this year. So it should be interesting. I think a lot of people say this is their favorite, right? Because it has the competition and stuff going on. Yeah, I think, again, this book speaks for itself. I don't need to say too much more. And the last book I'm going to put on my official TBR, but I would love if I'm able to read more books, but we won't get our hopes up too much. The last book I like to read is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. I have talked about this book throughout the year, as I did read the Folk of the Air, you know, the Cruel Prince series this year, and had a really good time. I also read the little novella extra book, The King of Elfhame, and this is now the first book in, I think it's only going to be a duology, but it's like a sequel series to the Folk of the Air. I would love to just kind of like finish the series off, well, until I get the sequel to this, but I don't think it's out yet. If it is, I don't own it yet. If you don't know, basically in the original series, we're following this human girl who lives in the fairy world, and kind of her journey there, and her trying to survive and fit in with these fairies and with the fairy politics, even though she's human and they really look down upon her. It's a lot of political stuff, and there's also a really great enemies to lovers storyline in that. In that series, Jude has a younger brother, and what is his name again? Oak. And I just know that this book is his story now. I feel like people don't love this book as much as the original series, but I always enjoy Holly Black's writing, so I'm excited about it still. Yeah, 8 years have passed, I guess, since the original series. Okay, looking at the description, honestly, it seems like we have another main character named Surin, child queen of the Court of Teeth, who I absolutely do not remember. See, that's the issue, that now it's been so many months since I read the first series that I think this Surin character was also from there, but I don't quite remember who that was. But hopefully this will catch me up at the very beginning and remind me. But yeah, that is the December, getting ahead of ourselves here, the December TBR. I think there's quite a variety here. It is quite a bit of fantasy books, but I think that is the vibe for December. But we still have some romance, we still have some thriller, so it should be a good time. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know below if you've read any of these books or a book that you are excited to read in December. I'll see you in my next video, which should be my November wrap up. See you then. Bye.